The first scene of the film depicts an ancient camper trailer making its way through the dark woods. Pfluger, a male, can be seen emerging from the cave while carrying a shovel and wearing a light. After stealing a human bone from an old Navajo cemetery, he is struck by a magical bolt that launches from the bone and sends him flying into the side of his car. After committing grave robbery and getting zapped by magic, he laughs evilly as he flees in his vehicle. In the following scene, we see Kelly, who is being harassed outside of a store by a few of the jocks from his previous high school. Because he suffers from pica, an eating condition that causes him to have the desire to consume things that are not food, the jocks pick on him and bully him. His buddy Dominique defends him, but the jocks put Kelly in the garbage can with his feet hanging out of it. He gets doused in soda by one of them. The jocks are recording it on their phones at the moment. The next day, Kelly does not appear to be in very good health, and while he is snacking on a pencil eraser from his locker that has the phrase, "Trash Boy," scrawled on it in large white letters, he discovers that the video of the jocks tossing him in the trash can has circulated around the school. Everyone in the class is making fun of him right now. Kelly's unhealthy diet of erasers and lids from ramen noodles is the source of his illness. Kelly's mother contacts a physician in order to check on her son, but the physician informs Kelly's mother that there is nothing he can do for her son since Kelly needs psychological assistance in addition to medical assistance. The following scenario begins with a large group of individuals around Pfluger. It turns out that he is a faith healer, and despite the fact that he acts like he is selling snake oil, his magic is real and he is able to heal people. However, sadly, he utilizes his gift for his own benefit, curing large groups of people in exchange for money. Pfluger brings a senior citizen to the forefront of the gathering to give a demonstration. Because of the agony she has in both her back and her legs, the woman is compelled to use a walker. After Jesus cures her, she declares that it's a miracle and throws away the walker she was using. The entire crowd breaks into applause. Following the departure of the crowd, Pfluger is confronted by a Navajo man known as Red Elk. Red Elk reveals to Pfluger that he is aware that the latter stole his abilities from an old tomb. He explains to Pfluger that at some point in the future, the magic will somehow turn against him, and as a result, he will perish as a result of it. Pfluger, a guy, disobeys Red Elk's advice and continues on his way to help Kelly get better. He is rather impolite about it. Later on that day, Pfluger pays Kelly a visit and makes an attempt to heal him, but he ultimately passes away while doing so and bestows his abilities upon Kelly. In the following scene, Kelly feels a lot more sure of himself as a result of discovering his new abilities. Later on that day, he confronts one of his bullies and sticks up for himself. The bully makes an attempt to attack him but ends up hurting himself in the process. As a result of the bully's aggravation, Kelly is hit in the side of the head with a piece of timber, and the bully ends up giving himself a concussion in the process. Kelly finds a job at a pizza business in town on his way home, and he immediately begins to think of methods to make money off of his abilities so that he can support himself and his mother. Because his mother warns him that things might not turn out so well for them if he chooses a career that allows him to show off his abilities, they decide to shelve the notion and never bring it up again. Kelly comes to the realization that if he consumes something that belonged to another person, that person will be influenced in some way by whatever Kelly does to himself. As Kelly is seated behind Dominique in class, the scrunchie that was in Dominique's hair comes off and lands on her desk. Before deciding to hand it back to her, he takes it up and munches on the tag for a moment. When he starts dreaming about having sex with her, she becomes aroused. He starts fantasizing about having sex with her. After that, he entertains fantasies about Sarah, which piques her interest. He experiences an orgasm while he is in school. Orgasms are experienced by both females. He loses his balance and falls out of his chair, running out of the room while hiding his trousers. The next scene takes place during a bonfire party that Kelly and Dominique are attending when Kelly is once again accosted by his tormentors. Kelly takes a stand against the jocks, and she even makes fun of one of them. However, things are about to heat up fast when Gus, the football coach of the squad and the father of two of the bullies, comes and orders them to back off. Gus is the father of two of the bullies. When the bullies spot Kelly coming back from the party, they follow him down in their automobile and end up killing him by running him over. Because Brett was the one operating the vehicle, he is the only one who is impacted by the magic. After a few minutes, Dominique and Sarah catch up to Kelly, who has successfully evaded capture by her fellow bullies. Dominique listens as Kelly describes what took place, and she is satisfied with his answer. After returning to school, Kelly and Dominique talk about the incident while eating rice cakes together. According to Dominique, the investigation conducted by the police suggests that the accident was caused by a faulty airbag. When Dominique persuades Kelly to ask her out on a date, this marks the beginning of the love connection that the two of them would eventually develop. Kelly is questioned by Red Elk over his abilities in the scenario that follows, which takes place at his place of employment, Grace's Pizza Place, when Kelly is putting out the garbage. Kelly gives Red Elk his backstory, which verifies his assumptions, and then he dashes off to his place of employment. After some time has passed, the bullies watch for Kelly to leave his trailer, and after they believe it to be vacant, they take his trailer off its base as a practical joke on him. It becomes unstable as the trailer drops, and the stove is pulled from the wall in the process, which causes the trailer to be filled with gas. The house is currently inaccessible to Kelly's mother, who was dozing on the couch when he departed. In her haste to escape from the house, she accidentally knocks over a light, which then sparks, setting off the gas. The trailer goes off the road. Kelly makes it back in time to the scene of the accident in an attempt to save his mother from the debris, but she has already passed away at that point. He drags her charred remains outside and then collapses to his knees in anguish as he does so. After some time has passed, he is seen sitting in a hospital bed, looking blankly at the ceiling. He suffered no injuries, but because he has no living relatives, he will have to enter a foster care program. Red Elk makes an appearance in the hospital to inform the sheriff that Kelly has fraudulently obtained her magic abilities. Red Elk assures the sheriff that he will be there when he is ready to trust him, but the sheriff doesn't believe him at first. Red Elk instructs the sheriff to look for him. Later on, as he was attending the burial of his mother, he managed to get away from the mob so that he could be alone and visit Fluga's grave. Dominique comes to visit him. He tells her that he will miss her very much, but that he has no choice but to place himself in foster care. The couple shares a passionate kiss before parting ways. After that, he decides to eat a leaf from the strange plant that is growing on his tomb, which causes him to get extremely ill. The sheriff provides him with some facts on the death of his mother that suggests there may have been foul play involved in the foster care. Kelly draws the conclusion from the facts that the jocks who pick on him must have been the ones who committed the crime. His suspicions are validated the moment the jocks drive by him in their car. They give him the finger and disrespect him in front of everyone. Kelly immediately jumps out of the car and disappears into the night. The sheriff will now go out and search for him. Kelly discovers that the jocks are heading to the creek, so he decides to go after them there in order to get his revenge. He takes advantage of the situation when he sees them swimming and drinking beer together. First, he consumes some of the jocks' clothing in order to murder one of them. This allows the magic to have an effect on him from a greater distance. After that, Kelly begins to suffocate himself by wrapping the remaining portion of the cloth around his neck, which ultimately results in the bully drowning. Kelly emerges from his hiding place to gloat, but he is forced to make a hasty exit since one of the bullies has gone to get the sheriff. Kelly's gloating is cut short as the sheriff arrives. In the next scene, Dominique's mother cautions her daughter to keep her window closed so as not to put her at risk of Kelly breaking in. Dominique is shown peering out of her window at the time. As soon as Dominique finished saying this and left her daughter's room, Kelly appeared at the window, and Dominique made an attempt to dissuade him from seeking retribution. Instead, she recommends attempting to coerce the bullies into admitting to what they have done. The next day, however, when Kelly goes into science class and demands a confession from one of the bullies, the bully instead throws acid in Kelly's face in an attempt to kill him for calling him out on the murder he committed the day before. Kelly quickly escapes the scene as the jocks' faces disintegrate in an instant. That night, Sarah informs one of the jocks that she is dating about what she witnessed at the funeral, namely how Kelly ate the weeds and became ill as a result of doing so. They come to the conclusion that Kelly's weakness is the weeds and collect some of them so that they might use them against him later. After some time has passed, Kelly confronts two of the jocks and their father, Gus, on the football field. This occurs after Kelly has stolen and eaten some clothing that was in the back of the sheriff's car. When the other person attempts to shower him with a tank full of green liquid made of the grave from the time before, he uses a power drill on himself to remove the knees of the jocks. Because Dominique asked him to stop, he refrains from assaulting, and as soon as he does, Gus, the father of the jock, attacks the sheriff and takes his pistol from him. After the jock has successfully sprayed Kelly and weakened him, he instructs Kelly's father to administer the injection while Kelly is still vulnerable. The situation comes to a head when Gus shoots Kelly in the chest after Dominique has removed enough of the liquid from Kelly to reduce its effectiveness. Shooting Kelly's plan backfires and Gus is killed, but it also results in the death of the jock because Kelly is still carrying a piece of the jock's garment inside of him. Dominique holds him responsible for the deaths of everyone else, and threatens to end their relationship with Kelly if he does not agree to travel with Red Elk, and conduct a ceremony that would cut him off from the power he wields. Dominique blames him for the deaths of everyone else. The event, however, is poorly performed. Kelly has been in possession of the power for an excessive amount of time, and it has integrated itself into his being. Killing him is the only way to remove him from the power structure at this point. The burst from an officer's shotgun kills both Kelly and Dominique, who were both critically injured. They end up dying in Fluga's unmarked tomb. Kelly miraculously recovers from her injuries and manages to save Dominique's life. When Kelly consumes the heart of Fluga's dead body, he renounces the power and accepts his own death. As a result, the power leaves him. His body goes through a slideshow of all of the fatalities he's been able to avert, and then he falls backward dead with a gunshot wound in his skull. At the very end of the film, Dominique wakes up in the back of an ambulance and is completely cured of her injuries. Share your thoughts in the comments, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next videos.